Hi, this is Paul Puckridge. Welcome to Managing Meetings, how to have more successful meetings in less time. I'm going to share with you 10 strategies, and if you have your workbook handy, you can write these in your workbook as we go along. Strategy number 1, and this really is a no-brainer, always have an agenda. You can always judge the quality of a meeting by the quality of an agenda. And one of the reasons why most meetings go off on tangents or take longer than they really should is because they don't have an agenda. If you are chairing a meeting, make sure that you have a list of items that you believe you want to cover in the time frame, and always put fewer things on the list than you think you need to. For example, if you're having a meeting for an hour, it's realistic to perhaps have 6 items. If you have 20 items, there's no way you're going to get through them all. Secondly, pick the best time to meet. As you would have learned at our Time Track program, there are different times in the day for different sorts of meetings. Is 9:15 the best time to have a catch-up meeting? Or would 4 o'clock in the afternoon be better? As you would have learnt, understanding your circadian rhythms, you want to have brainstorming, problem-solving, decision-making, value-added meetings when you have a higher level of energy, and catch-up administration-type meetings in your lower energy periods. The third strategy, again, it's a no-brainer, but I see so many people not doing this, and that is to start your meetings on time. Your time is valuable. Don't wait around for people unless, of course, it's a senior manager. So start on time, finish on time, and everybody will start respecting the fact that these meetings are important and they need to be attended on time. It won't take too long before people know that if they turn up late, they're going to look silly. So start on time. The fourth strategy is to bring your diary, obviously, or printouts if you use calendar, as well as your spiral notebook, pens, and a to-do list. It is totally useless to turn up to a meeting with nothing in your hand. Yet I see so many people attend meetings and they go into a meeting with nothing, not even an agenda. So bring the agenda, bring your diary, bring printouts from your calendar, and the printouts should be the previous month, the current month, and the following month, as well as a spiral notebook to write down notes that you will take at the meeting, as well as a to-do list in case you have to do something. Number 5, why don't you triage your agenda before you start? So with everybody around the table, you all have your agendas in front of you. The meeting manager or the chairperson will say, let's triage our agenda today. So what you do is you go through your list using A, B, or C. Maybe even E for eliminate. So which items do we all consider are the most important? They're critical. Which items should we cover if time permits? And finally, which items are a bonus, and if time runs out, we can leave them for a later date. And obviously you want to spend your meeting on the most important matters first. Number 6, always have a chairperson who will keep the meeting on track. The idea of a democratic meeting just doesn't really work. You need to have someone who is responsible to start the meeting, chair the points, keep the meeting on track, and finish the meeting. Also someone who is able to say, no, we're not going to be discussing that, or yes, we should discuss that. Always appoint someone. And it should be someone who is going to be able to keep the meeting focused. If we were to think about behavioral styles, we'd say that probably an expressive or a commander are often good to keep the meeting on track. That doesn't mean analysts and relators can't, but they need to be far more assertive than perhaps they normally are. Number 7, use a parking lot for other items. A parking lot is simply a post-it note or a flip chart that you leave on the side of the table or in the corner of the room, and whenever somebody raises an issue that is not part of the agenda, it's parked. So someone gets up, walks over to the flip chart and writes down what the item was, and then goes back and sits down. At the end of the meeting, you can discuss the parking lot or use the parking lot for your next meeting. Do not get caught up in anything which is not on the agenda. Big mistake. Number 8, no passive participants. Everybody should be involved in the meeting. That's why you give them an agenda, and that's why I believe everybody who attends the meeting should play a part in the meeting. So next to a particular item, get one of the team members who are attending to chair that particular discussion. Have them talk about it. Don't just have someone sitting there doing nothing at all. Number 9, have a minute or note taker at the meeting, and within 24 hours of the meeting being attended, have someone distribute the minutes or at least notes from the meeting. And this way everyone will have a record of what's been discussed. I see a lot of meetings where there is no minute taker or person appointed, and everyone has a differing agreement as to what was discussed. And finally, don't have another meeting. Have action steps instead. So as you go through the agenda, say to the group, all right, so what is the agenda item we're going to action? Does everyone agree on the action step? Okay, Phil, you're responsible for that, and you'll have that done by the 20th. Janine, you're responsible for this. You will have an outcome by the 25th. I've seen so many meetings take place where at the end of the meeting someone says, well, we couldn't make a resolution, let's have another meeting. You need to make sure that after every meeting you give each person something to do, something to work on, you delegate, and you give them a time frame and an action step. That way, when you have your next meeting, they're reporting back on actions they've taken to move that particular task forward. Thanks for listening and watching. I hope those 10 items have been useful and will make your meetings even more effective next time.